Yeah, we are live now.
Okay, so should I start?
Yes, you can start. We are live now.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. On behalf of Team Enajori, Avilekha Gogol, welcome our today's eminent speaker, Angita Roy ma'am, to this Friday live session uh, on animal welfare. She's teacher by profession and have been helping the streets for more than 10 years voluntarily. She got associated with The Voice in 2019. Today's evening is going to be very enlightening because we have with us Ms. Angita Roy. For the audience who are new to our platform, I would like to introduce briefly about Enajori to them. Enajori is a non-profit platform and aims to promote various initiatives that attempts to bring social change, sharpen leadership skills, and build entrepreneurial capabilities in Assam as well as in the entire Northeast. Through the webinar series, which was started in July last year, we tried to build a network among people in the Northeast by inviting speakers from various fields to join us in. Further, we will get to know more about the organization. I would like to start our today's session with the opening speech by ma'am. So, ma'am, can you please open with the speech?
All right. Thank you so much for inviting me to the beautiful session. And I believe all of us learn with every passing day, and each welfare session conducted by Anna Jodi has something new to come up with. Uh, yes, as she rightly said, I'm a teacher by profession and have been helping the strays for more than a decade now. That has been voluntary. But then I got associated with the voice animal welfare around in the year 2019. So yes, and as the session begins, we will get to know more of about our organization and things we'll discuss here. Okay.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for your warm words. Got to know many new things. So there are a few questions to present to you. So would you please share why your organization is named The Voice?
All right. Um, first to begin with, animals uh, cannot speak, and emotions is the only language that through which we can connect with them. So basically, when the team was working, the voice, the UCI Foundation Animal Welfare, before to begin with, why we named our organization as the voice, it is a branch of UCI Foundation which started back in 2017, and it had several initiatives under it. And the initiatives are like Khoon, where UCI donates blood, uh, and another one could be is Anant Vidya, where we provide uh, free education to the underprivileged children who cannot take care or whose parents are not that economically secure. We provide free education to them. And again, another initiative is of such a heart, where we provide food to people in lieu of plastic so that we can reduce the use of plastic, or rather we can uh, create awareness among people that by the usage of plastic and by not littering it on the streets, we can gather it in one place and then throw it away for disposal in one particular place. One who does that gets free food in lieu of that. That's one. Another is uh, where we take care of rivers, cleaning rivers, uh, like once in a month, so that the riverside remains clean. and the environment is not that much polluted. So, and then comes the voice, UCI Foundation Animal Welfare, where this is one of the most important initiatives where we take care of animals, particularly strays. Because animals do not have a language to speak, we are their voice. We voice what they feel, we voice what they go through. It is we humans who give them a platform, or not platform exactly, but then uh, a, a way through which they can communicate to us. So the voice is named with that intent of actually reaching out to people, being we as the medium. We are the medium with which we try to bridge that gap between humans and animals for that matter. Hence the term the voice. So yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So our next question is, so can you just share about how your organization was started and the journey in brief?
All right. As I said, UCI was started in back in 2017, and since the beginning of that particular parental organization, UCI Foundation, with the beginning of other initiatives as well, the voice was already uh, has started already taking its roots, because there were certain animal lovers in the team, and then people came together and thought of, why not, if we are doing everything for the environment, then let's start doing something for the animals, for our stray animals as well. Then few members came together. It started off with a feeding session where we witnessed. I was not there back then in 2017, but then other members who were there, they witnessed how the strays gulped down the food in uh, absolute hunger. You cannot imagine, for days they go on hungry. And that was the first feeding session carried out back in 2019. It was in 2019 when the first feeding session during the end of the year. And uh, after that feeding session, the small rescues started to come up, where dogs were found in a car accident or any sort of accident, or any animal was found wounded, any cow was found wounded. So the team members slowly started consulting with the doctors of our area, how to treat them when doctors won't be around, how to take care of the stray animals who do not get any kind of assistance, because we already know the kind of condition stray animals have. There's no proper ambulance for them throughout, there is no proper medical facilities available at the veterinary hospitals as well. So, team voluntarily came up with ways to kind of lessen the pain of the stray animals with these small initiatives. So yes, that is how we started,
Okay,
and
ma'am.
it's
Okay,
been
that's very
years
okay. So
now.
that's very fruitful to hear. Okay, so our next question is, your work involves feeding and matlab rescuing and all. So do you put the cost out of the individual contributions?
You mean to say, how do we carry out our rescue and treatments, right? You're talking about the expense, if I'm right. Abhilekha, I think your device is mute, is on a mute mode.
Okay, so sorry, ma'am. I think no, your work involves feeding and rescuing and all. So do you put the cost out of individual contributions?
Uh, See, we have, of course, we go through individual contributions as and when required, but then we also have people who voluntarily donate themselves, donate some amount of money. Right? Whenever we go for feeding, or they ask us, how are you doing it? And then we say that sometimes we get donations, sometimes we don't. And in whatever ways we can, we just carry out our work so that the work doesn't stop. And people voluntarily come up to just help. If you want anything, we are here. And they voluntarily donate anything they want. When it comes to feeding, uh, there are many in our city where they would donate one bag, 2 bags of pedigree, or they would donate few kgs of rice. They would donate money. Sometimes they donate in terms of cash. Sometimes they donate in terms of medicine. So there are various ways which people donate things to us so that we can carry out our work. Firstly, secondly, when there is a certain kind of treatment or a rescue, and that requires medical prolonged treatment, prolonged medical assistance, we then go for raising funds. We go on with describing the condition of the animal in that particular situation, and then we go on to speak with people in and around where they witness. So sometimes what happens is whenever the persons are involved, they themselves come out and help with medicines or with financially. And if that doesn't happen, we carry out individually, all of us as a team, we carry out the work. So yes, that is how we do things.
Okay, ma'am. So our next question is, so what motivates you to be consistent at your work? Do you feel demotivated at times?
Motivation comes, I think, when you love something, when you do, you are inherently motivated. Maybe you don't need anything extra, externally to motivate yourself. But yes, when you're passionate about what you do, when you love what you're doing, especially, motivation comes from within. But yes, at times there are times when we feel demotivated. In cases where we feel disheartened, we feel very sad when we feel to sometimes, save a life for various reasons. Supposedly, a car is hit by a speeding heavy vehicle, and we reach there as soon as possible for us in human terms. What happens is sometimes what happens that the accident is so it happens in such a way where there is nothing we could do. There is nothing that the animal's life can be saved, but then still we try. And at times when we are unable to save the life of that animal, we feel disheartened, we feel demotivated, not by the fact that we have been unable to save a life, but by the fact that when will people actually start realizing the value of one single life, not only human, but then of an animal as well. Now, of course, recently there have been an upsurge. There has been a lot of uh, awareness created amidst public regarding animal issues because of various organizations coming up and speaking about things, doing about such work. But then still there are people who kind of are irresponsible a little bit towards their environment. They think they and the environment, the nature is all that they. But then the animals are also part of the nature, and when these things happen, we feel like we have failed sometimes, not by the work that we do, but by the way that we feel when we get like some amount, like some cases of animal cruelty or cases of accidents where or cases of abandonment where the animals are abandoned, and when the owner refuses to take them back in spite of multiple requests, and actually not actual requests, but then explaining to them, talking to them, not trying to speak with them, they deny the existence of the animal. That's when we feel demotivated. But then, nonetheless, we are not taken aback by it. With every case that comes up, we learn something new out of it again. We try our best to, help the animal, and we make sure that whatever we are doing does bear result, not for us, but then for the animal that we are trying to save. So yes, we don't feel demotivated at times, but then again, we kind of uh, think to ourselves, if we become demotivated and kind of get stuck in the situation that we are in, we will not be able to move forward and do work for the cause to save animals. That would be left behind. So yes, we don't think much of it. Then we somehow move forward with the motive of saving further animals, and saving further lives. Yes.
Okay.
Moira question for today. I'm cutting it. All right.
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
Linda.
So great to have you here, Ankita.
Thank you, Melinda.
So my question is, so because you are an animal activist, most animal activists somehow become human hater. First, are you a human hater? And if you are not, how do you make yourself, after seeing all the cruelty against animal, how do you still like human? If I assuming that you still like human, good to see you by the way.
Melinda just got me in the right point, and I think I thought I would do away with this, but then no, of course, nothing, nothing, and no one can do away with this question. Yes, after I have, when I was voluntarily working, no, did not feel so much. I used to go for feeding and small cuts and small wounds I used to cure and things. That was on personal basis, and I used to do it whenever I used to get time. But then when I got involved with the voice, with the organization, when I got to get, I witnessed such cases, not on daily basis, but on alternate days. I started developing a feeling of not hatred actually. I won't say hatred, like a very nasty feeling towards humans, thinking that if humans are being gifted with such wisdom and such power, why instead of killing them, why don't you try and save? If you can't save it, at least don't hurt it. At least don't kill them. Yes, you can say I have somewhat become a human being, but then I again look forward to people who are there for our animals. Though the number might be less, yes, but then they are gradually increasing day by day. And I would say there are cases when, uh, uh, mm, like nearby a neighbor, there are cases where they tie up their dogs 24/7, uh, stating that we have purchased the dog and we can do whatever we want to do with it. Who are you to interfere? That's our money and things. The only thing I could feel is humans at that time, that you people, if you cannot understand the value of a life, they understand the value of an animal's life with some amount of money. That's how they compare an animal's life. And I believe that is where we are lacking, to create awareness, that balance between, you know, a purchased breed dog and a stray dog. No, we also unconsciously, or rather subconsciously, we have also generalized that notion of a stray puppy and a breed puppy. Though we are animal activists, somewhere we also are taken aback by this fact. And of course, I believe it will take time for us to bridge that gap between these two kinds of two different parallels. Again, on a second note, Melinda, we can still observe some uh, this live birds where they are caged. I'm not much aware of what those birds are called, but then they are caged in our city as well. So I have tried speaking to them, most of them, and then say they don't fly. And they come up with such stupid explanations that they don't fly, and this is what they are for, and we sell them for certain amount of money. And when I said, do you know this is animal cruelty? No, not with the intention of making them aware, but I question them. I speak to them with the intention of knowing their thought process behind what they do. And their thought process is that we are humans and we can exploit each and everything that is available around us that profits us. They are least bothered about the life that is suffering. They are least bothered about the life that is being harmed and done away with. So I think when you look at these things, animal lovers like me will actually start hating things. And in fact, it is not only of people no, who are not uh, connected to us. In fact, at a workplace also, I believe there are some uh, when an animal, when a dog will come running, when a goat will run, they shoo them off, and they just take a stick and run away, run after it, shooing them off. If it's possible, they'll even hit it with a stone or things like that. So they don't understand, even after being educated, even after having degrees, even after having that wisdom and power, they cannot differentiate between life. That each life can feel pain. Each life has that potential to live. I believe that will take, I don't know how many years, but then that will take a long, long time. And when I look at these things, yes, you can call me that I am uh, human hater. Yes, you can call me that. And I don't apologize for it. And I will never apologize for it. I will straight away say it in the face. And I do say that. And for that reason, I have had lost many friends uh, who call me, etu besi karo, etu besi karo. But then
Not from not their point of view, but from my perspective. And of course, supposedly you hold on to a belief.
Voice to অকমান হেৰি হৈ গৈছে হা okay, say
Okay, can you
say
hear me now?
something. Not so much, not clear. Hello.
Just can you hear me now?
Faint.
মেম ইমান ক্লিয়াৰ হোৱা নাই ভইচটো আপোনাৰ
How about now?
মানে
No.
শুনা পাইছো বাট ক্লিয়াৰ হোৱা নাই কিবা
Volume to faint হৈছে
Am I audible
হৈছে
now?
নে নাই
Audible?
হোৱা faint হৈছে
Why so? Iman time? Just a moment.
কিবা এটা লুজ কানেক্ট হৈ গৈছে maximize it. We cannot hear you at all right now.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Audible?
Yes,
Perfect.
audible.
Yes.
No.
No?
Man, we can hear you. Faint. Voice is faint, not like before. But at least we can hear you. We can hear you. Maximize it. Hello?
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Now you're clear.
Yes. So where was I? I stopped somewhere or I was dancing. I can't recall now.
So you took it will take how many years to
Your
go through this?
voice is lowered down. I don't know what is wrong.
Can you hear me now, ma'am?
Can you hear me now? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I can hear you now.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Okay. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you think the children of the very matlab young age should inculcate the sense of empathy towards animals? How to inculcate the sense of empathy towards animals?
All right. See, um, that's a very difficult question, but again, I would love to answer it. Being a teacher, firstly, no, firstly, I'll just start off with being a person or as a human being on that matter. Am I audible properly, firstly? Okay, all right. Whenever you go around while feeding sessions, no, whenever you go around, when I go around for feeding sessions with the team, or sometimes when I go out on my own, whenever I see anyone helping or no trying to shoo away an animal, or trying to get rid of animals, saying it'll bite me, it'll do something to me, I, no matter if that kid is a stranger, I try and speak with that kid, make that kid understand. Maybe it's for a couple of minutes, but then I try my best to communicate in a way so that that kid understands what is the oh relationship, how you can develop with animals, no. um, Inculcating a feeling of love and compassion towards animals firstly begins at home, in the environment that you're uh, in the surrounding that you grow up, and most importantly, um, in the books that children are given in their school, uh, the curriculum that is being followed. So the first point was, I said, it starts off with the family. So the family has to be very compassionate and empathetic towards animals, because the kid automatically develops when he or she sees certain things in and around the family. They will automatically adapt themselves to the activities that are being done with their family members, firstly, on a very basic level. Secondly is, how do they, after watching their family members uh, mm, doing certain activities of like feeding the pigeons in the morning, feeding the birds, or feeding for that matter just these um, stray animals that stayed nearby the gate, or like now summer is coming up, no, placing a bowl in front of the gate filled with water, so that stray animals can have some water when they feel thirsty, because they can't say it. So when kids will see these kind of things, you don't have to do or train them. They will automatically get adapted to it, and they will, at certain point in time, they will start doing the same activities, because they have been getting those kind of vibes, and they have been watching their parents, witnessing their parents do these things. So these things will automatically be reflected in the daily actions when they develop that psychological thought process of being one with the environment. That environment is not only made of human beings, the environment consists of everything. We, earth, water, land, everything, animals, everything is, no, that's we call a harmonious coexistence, that everything is connected with each other. They will automatically understand that. And third, I believe as a teacher is very important that there are certain stories that we come up when we read, or when we explain to the children in the syllabus, that there was a dog, and some thief came, and the dog was killed, and everybody enjoyed that the dog was killed. The kids were also very happy when the dog was hit by a stick. Or sometimes it so happens ki, when it's Holi. So during Holi, someone will just splash some color on the animal, and the kids will enjoy it, and they will say, wow, that's such nice, in advertisements that are being put up. But then, yes, to create awareness, but then the precedings that are being shown, that creates a negative impact on children. So I think this curriculum thing plays a very important role, where we must include. I don't think there is such any syllabus as of now. I don't think in the syllabus um, in Assam for that matter, let alone India. I'm just speaking of Assam as of now. Uh, no, including syllabus or few, just one chapter or few chapters where taking care of our environment, which includes animals, or coming up with fictional stories at the very primary level, where the children learns to read, and when they read such stories and the children and the teachers explains to them, and when they learn about it and when they read the chapter, I believe they will in kind of imbibe that spirit of helping strays, provided there must be something to read in there. Firstly, it would start with the curriculum. If I would strictly go with no how to actually get into the psychology of the students when it comes to school, because after family, school is the second home. So family will of course be a factor for inculcating such uh, empathetic and compassionate feelings in the minds and hearts of the children towards animals. But then school also plays a very important role. So I believe the school system should also involve, or rather the education board of Assam, I think, should include certain amount of syllabus which talks in a fictional way about how in stories or in articles, how uh, we can actually from a very tender age start um, uh, acting in a very compassionate way towards the animal. So I think these are some of the subtle ways that we can start with doing. And I believe there are many more, but as of now, this is what I can think of. Yes.
Okay, so as you mentioned about the role of curriculum and all, so I want to ask, so what is the role of social media in this?
All right.
The
Social
role of social media.
the role of social media in inculcating uh, uh, yeah, all
True,
right,
true.
I got your question. See, social media, see now, a very basic example is when you have a curriculum which is exam oriented of school, and you have a social media which does not fetch you any marks. I'm talking from the viewpoint of a child, because the question is child centric. Okay, when it's curriculum centric, the child knows that I have to learn, I have to fetch marks. It's important for exam. That's particularly from a education oriented view, that's there. But when it comes to social media, that's something that helps, yes, I won't say primarily, but then that helps you in no kind of when you watch certain videos, when you look at certain aspects of certain important videos. Nowadays social media has numerous videos where you have treating, helping, feeding, curing them. I believe that also has an equal effect. But then that social media, and uh, not every child might have that access to social media, which either way curriculum has. If things are included in the curriculum, it's compulsory for every child to read a book or to get that lesson in their brain, in their head, because it will come up in the exam. But the primary motive will be to develop compassion and empathy in themselves towards animals. That would be a kind of ethical value in the curriculum. But when it comes to social networking sites, or social networking things, yes, it is helpful. But um uh, videos again play a very important role in encapsulating the brain of the child. Videos very easily can capture the brain of a child, but then how longer do they retain it? How longer do they keep it in their mind? They watch one video today, they watch another video tomorrow, but how longer does they can they retain it in their mind? If for it's for a very long time, longer duration of time, well and good. If not, then what? Then what can be an alternative for this? So if we try and kind of input some amount of syllabus in from a very primary stage, the child will slowly develop. Because as a teacher, I get to witness certain stories very subtly. Children say कि मैम ऐसा हुआ था, एक ना डॉगी आया था और डॉगी मेरे घर के सामने आ रहा था, तो मैंने उसको लाठी से भगा दिया, मैंने उसको पत्थर मार मार के भगा दिया। वो लोग काटते हैं ना, वो अच्छे नहीं होते। बंदर भी आया था, वो घुसने जा रहा था, मैंने उसको भगा दिया, मैंने उसको जोर से मार दिया लकड़ी से। This is something that they do involuntarily. They are not being taught, but they watch this done by the elderly people in the society, in the so-called civilized society, where elderly people teach them without even considering the feeling of the animal कि कुकुटे काटिबो, वो बंदर काटेगा। No, every animal has a right when they feel hungry. But then that's why I said school is a very important place for children to learn. If these things are given in the syllabus in a fictional way, in a story way, children will then understand gradually that this is not how it works. So whenever a child comes and say to me, in the classroom, I say, no, this is not the case. This is not what happens. You should not shoo them off. Instead, feed them with a biscuit, feed them with a chapati, feed the animal with a bowl of water. See this. And surprisingly, I don't know if the audience that are here today will believe it or not. Few of the students have actually started liking animals. Earlier, they were like, stay away from me. Few students have actually started to develop that feeling of compassion towards them. So it's important for the society as well to help the children imbibe those feelings of compassion. But then again, the society doesn't only consist of people like us who will think of animals as friends, but then animals as murderers who bites, who kills. No, they have other side of them also. So I believe not only curriculum and social networking sites, everything taken together can help in inculcating such values in the child. But then it again starts with the home. The environment at home is very important. How do elders in the family treat uh, animals? Because it is like imitation. Children imitate what the elders do. It's an age of imitation. They will replicate whatever the elderly member in the family does. So I believe, yes, all these factors taken together should help and must help this current scenario of the children that we are facing. So yeah.
So true, ma'am, so true. And there is a Assamese saying also, শিক্ষা প্ৰথম মানে ঘৰতে আৰম্ভ হয়. And that's
True.
Everything should begin at home. Okay, so our next question is, why sterilization is necessary for animal welfare? Sterilization.
Well, I believe just as human population is increasing, no? But then again, because humans can speak, they have 2 hands and legs, and they have all the ways, means, and resources to their livelihood. Unlike animals, do not have that. No, animals do not have it. Animals can neither speak nor express nor do anything for themselves. But on the other hand, if you have people like who loves animals or who takes care of animals, if the animals are lucky enough, so you will get 1 or 2 or 10 people around them to take care of them. But then when the number increases, what happens? With every breeding season, what happens is there are litter of puppies everywhere. And when such things happens, a nuisance is created in the society for some civilized people. They think ki iman kukur hoi goise, kukuro kotba eri e bacha keta hoise kotba eri thoi ahile hol. They don't think that it's not a kukur, it's an animal, of course, but then they are babies, they are puppies, they need their mother, they need milk to feed on. But then there are some inhumane people stupid people who do these things, and they abandon the kids somewhere, and the kids somewhere either die, some comes under vehicles, some are being put to death, poisoned to death. So I believe sterilization comes there. Sterilization comes there where you actually uh, uh, need to control uh, the population somewhere or the other. But then again, I think it again has a negative impact because it's the natural biological process which we humans should not interfere. But again, because we again as humans have invaded this planet, so we think we are the whole soul of this planet. So whatever comes in our way, we have to stop it. So I believe sterilization both has its positive impacts and in its negative impacts. But then in our area, to speak specifically of, there are not much scenes or cases like this. Uh, because whenever such things happens, like a mother gives birth to puppy, or we find a litter of puppy somewhere, you know, till now we have been lucky enough to get them good homes, and places where we cannot do, we are helpless in those places. But when we try to do the same, and sterilization, yes, is very important. Again, on the, though I say it has its pros and cons, but then yes, it is important, so that balance can be made between all the aspects of animal and human life, so that I mean both of them should must be able to live in a harmonious coexistence with each other. So I believe yes, that's again a very important thing.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. So my next question to মই আপোনাক অসমীয়াতে সুধো। So মানে যেতিয়া আমি মানে পেট মানে বিলাক দেখো, so মানে তেওঁলোকক খুব মানে কেয়াৰ আৰু মানে ইন্টেনসিভ মানে কেয়াৰত মানে ৰখা হয়। কিন্তু যেতিয়া ষ্ট্ৰীট মানে এনিমেলছ মানে বিলাকলে আহে, কিন্তু সেই থটটো মানে আমাৰ মানে কেনেকে চেঞ্জ হ'ব লাগে, যে ষ্ট্ৰীট মানে এনিমেলছ বিলাকো যে একেই। So সেই থটটো মানে কেনেকে এটা চেঞ্জ আনিব লাগে সেইটোৰ ওপৰত অলপ।
Okay. See, মই চাগে এটা কুৱেশ্যনত কৈছিলিও চাগে যে মানুহে ব্ৰিড কুকুৰ বুলি ক'লে একদম দে বিকাম এক্সাইটেড। ব্ৰিড পাপি, ও ল্যাব পাপি হয়, GSD পাপি হয়, ইমান ধুনীয়া হ'ব, পমেৰিয়ান হয়, এইটোতো আমাৰ দেশী কুকুৰ। They label it as desi kukur. And no, I might sound a little radical here. You might sound a little offensive. I might sound a little offensive. But then we Indians have this very much craze of adapting to Western things. যিটো নিজৰ দেশৰ নহয়, আমি বাহিৰৰ দেশৰ খিনি বেছিহে ভাল পাওঁ। নিজৰ দেশৰ খিনি we tend to ignore our things which are of our state, which are of our country. No, in general terms, not only my animals, I'm just giving a very basic example. No, so what? But when it comes to animals, oh, okay, and also before I begin with this, breed culture has become a part of our status symbol হৈ গৈছে। যে মোৰ কুকুৰটো ইমান দামী, তোমাৰ কুকুৰটো ইমান দামী। স্ত্ৰী পাপিটো ৰাস্তাতে পৰি থাকে, কিয় কেয়াৰ কৰিব লাগে? দৰকাৰ নাই নহয়, দেশী কুকুৰহে। But then your question is why I said these things, because এই বস্তুটো যে আছে না, এই গ্যাপ যিটো আছে থট প্ৰচেছৰ, তুমি নিজে ভাবিবা, যেতিয়া আমি যেতিয়া কিবা এটা বস্তু ফ্ৰীত পাওঁ and কিবা এটা বস্তু কিনি লওঁ, which one do we value more? The thing that we purchase, যিটো আমি পইচাৰে কিনো, সেইটো আমি বেছি ভ্যালু কৰো। যিটো আমি পইচাৰে কিনা নাই, কিয় ইমান ভ্যালু কৰিম? আমি পাই থাকিম। Why will we value that? But then it is important to actually bridge that gap. And how do we bridge that gap between this sense of generalization, between this thought process that, oh, this is a breed puppy, this is a street Indian puppy? No, the basic essence lies etu bujar agor manhor etu bujibo lagibo that all lives are same. They just come in different shapes and forms. It's very basic. Abhilekha mane yat moi eku rocket science thake kobo nwari. It's very basic ki আমি যিটো ইয়াতে ল্যাব বা গোল্ডেন রিট্রিভার বা পমেরিয়ান বুলি লো, এইবোৰ সেম কুকুৰে when you go out of India, এইবোৰ সেম কুকুৰে তাৰে stray dogs হয়। And in India, আমি তাত সেইবোৰ কুকুৰকে আচ্ছা they are very মানে symbol status বহুত ভাল হ'ব they view it in that way. So the very basic fundamental thing is to first bring a change in the thought process ki every basic life has different forms and shapes. Secondly, etu bhabibo lagibo, etu sabo lagibo that no, I don't think there is a formula to actually bring about a change in this thought process. I think it all starts with how you view the animal or how you view the creature. Tumi ki bhaba, tumi ki dekhisa, ami ki buji pai aso. So moi na bhabu je etu kiba ta formula ase, but I think ki tumi jimane bhitoror pora compassionate hoba na towards any form of creature, be it a lizard, be it a chicken, be it a hen, be it a pig, be it a goat, be it a cow, be it a buffalo, be it any animal for that matter. Tumi bhitor pora hey feeding to ahibo lagibo, that you view all the animals as same. Only then I think you can create an awareness, and that awareness can only be created by human beings. Kunba belek ahi etu koribo nware. But a COVID-or majere, when we were doing regular feeding sessions, no, during the COVID, we used to do feeding session every day for the last 2 years. What change came is that ami ketiaba suppose kiba karanot feeding session jabo noarile, the members of that local area started feeding those dogs. On the other hand, agote hebur manuhe kukur keta khedai thakisile, but এই লকডাউনত ইহঁতে দেখিলে যে ইহঁতেও খাবলে নাপায়, and আমি দূৰৰ পৰা গৈ ইহঁতক খুৱাব যাওঁ. So somewhere or the other, we, without even speaking to them, সিহঁতে বুজি পালে যে ইহঁতে ইমান দূৰৰ পৰা যদি খোৱা দিবলৈ আহে, আমাৰ ঘৰৰ সন্মুখতে বহি থকা কুকুৰ কেইটাক বা ছাগলী বা গৰু কেইটাক কি আমি খাব দিব নোৱাৰো নে? So সেই চেঞ্জটো আহিছে মানুহৰ তাত যে আমিও আগবাঢ়ি কিবা এটা কৰিব লাগে. So I believe no, you cannot change anyone or change anyone's perspective by saying tumi kiba eta kori thakiba. When you do when I do an action, it will create a ripple effect. When a droplet of water falls in a still water, eta ripple effect create hoy, gote pani to hili jay. So in the similar way, when one person takes an action, no, it creates a ripple effect. So I believe ei bostu to manuhor thought process he চেঞ্জ কৰিব পাৰিব. মানুহৰ একচন কৰি যেতিয়া মানুহে চাব আচ্ছা এইটো বস্তু পসিবল হয়. Stray animals are also equally capable of love and attention. Only then people will understand, and it will take time for that matter. So yes, I believe heneke korile sake hobo pare. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. So শেষত যদি আপুনি কিছুমান মানে এনিমেল এডপশ্যনৰ কাৰণে যদি কিছুমান ইনিচিয়েটিভছৰ বিষয়ে কৈ মানে দিব পাৰে, এনিমেল এডপশ্যনৰ কাৰণে কিছুমান
মানে এডপশ্যন মানে কেনেকে কি কৰিলে?
yeah.
Okay. Personally speaking, on the organizational front, we have conducted as of now till 3 adoption camps, jito ami every year 25th December ot koru. So we take a number of puppies jot we feel ki they need home, and free adoption camp koru. আমি তাতে ফ্রি অ্যাডপশন ক্যাম্প করু, তাতে আমি ফর্ম ফিল আপ করাও, we take identification proofs, and we go for home visits every 3 months. Quarterly ami home visited jao to see how the adopted puppy is doing. So I think ami as an organization etu initiative koru, but again etu on the organizational front hoy gol. But tumi jodi personally sabole khoa, supposedly I come across a puppy, or moi jodi kiba eta khobor palu, I am not a volunteer for any organization. I am just a normal human being. Okay, moi eta individual. Moi jodi salu enekwa kiba eta puppy ase, tar moi khobor dibo paru usore pasore manuhe je would you like to adopt, and hiyote jodi bhal bhabe je hiyote adopt koribo, or they can contact any organization for that matter. Henekeo hobo pare, বা এনেকেও হব পাৰে যোন মানুহটো supposedly they have witnessed certain amount of puppies in a place, সিহঁতে তাৰ পৰা এটা নিজে adopt কৰিলে, বাকি কেইটা ৰিলেটিভৰ বা but I mean there are ways and means to read, provided তুমি যে question to khudila, provided people should be aware of it. Adoption is very easy, but then taking care of that puppy after adoption is where the real game starts. Proper vaccination, সিহঁতৰ fooding habits, সিহঁতৰ behavioral habits, সিহঁতৰ yearly যিখিনি vaccination থাকে সেইখিনি চাবলে, their neatness, everything comes into account. So I believe with adoption comes many other responsibilities, and you choose that animal to be a part of your family. It's not just an animal, that the animal becomes a part of your family. Jote jaba loi jaba nogole koto najaba. So that becomes a responsibility, that becomes our people very naively claim ki eto mo property homo je ichha ma take kori ma kini aniso, but that's wrong. Hekarne mo kolu say awareness to ana, where the question that was asked by you, how to inculcate this feeling in the minds of children. Now, eto question, the other question should also be this: how to inculcate these feelings in the minds of adults too. There are adults also who think, I don't know what, they think of animals as something at a material he bhabe hihotok. No, কুকুর এটা শুই আছে নাচাব ওপৰেৰে উঠাই গুচি যাব. I don't know how unfeeling humans can be. মানে মানুহে ইমানটো বুজি নাপায় যে they also have feelings, they also feel that pain. So I believe inculcating those same feelings in the minds of child and in the minds of adults are equally important. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
কৰিব পাৰিম?
ma'am. মই ধৰিব পাৰিছো। So এতিয়া যদি আমাৰ audienceৰ কিছুমান questions আছে, then you can move forward. Or else আপোনালোকে chat boxত হেৰি কৰি দিব পাৰে আপোনালোকৰ questions বিলাক।
Ankita, মই এইটো ক'ব খুজিছিলো যে আজিকালি বহুতে মানে এনেকে কুকুৰ দেখে, ইনজিঅৰ্ড কুকুৰ, আৰু তাই ক'ব যে এই NGO বিলাকক ফোন কৰিলো, NGO বিলাকে পিক আপ নকৰিলে, ইহঁতে একোৱে কাম নকৰে, অমুক তমুক তমুক। So they feel that the NGO should take care of all the dogs. For example, মই গুৱাহাটীৰ কথাই কওঁ, there must be around 42,000 stray animals. তাতে কিমান NGO হৈ আছে, তাৰ ইয়াৰে dedicatedly চাগে less than dozen people who are totally working. So এটা কুকুৰ rescue কৰিব যাওঁতে বহুত খৰচো হয়, and people don't understand. চবে খালি blame কৰিব কি NGO বিলাকে একোৱে নকৰিলে অমুক। So what do you have to tell to these people who always go on bitching about animal organization? Why do কোৱা নাই যে সব animal organization কাম কৰে, নকৰে সব বিলাকে, but কিছুমানে কৰে ভালদৰে, মানে বহুতে ভালদৰে কাম কৰি আছে। There are one or two bad হেৰি, কিন্তু সেইবুলি সব animal organization এনেকে ক'ব নালাগে। And the other thing is that এই মানুহবিলাকক কেনেকে তুমি এজন ইউথে যদি এটা ইনজিঅৰ্ড এনিমেল দেখে, how do you, knowing that it's so expensive to sometime for the treatment, what should a youth or person do in that case? Not just calling the NGO, তেওঁলোকে নিজে কি কৰিব পাৰে?
Acha Milinda, I didn't get your second question. Can you
মই
just
কৈছো কেতিয়াবা ইনজিঅৰ্ড এনিমেল দেখিলে মানুহে said by NGO college our shelter house full, we are totally out of our capacity, we cannot help.
Okay.
Right. Then what should, instead of telling that NGO, calling the NGO is not enough, right? Everybody has to step up.
Yes.
So in this case, knowing that it could be expensive, what should a person or a citizen do when they say injured animal?
Okay. On a personal, on the personal front, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll first answer apuni jitu first thought khudile ki when people blame, when certain people blame ki kiba eta supposedly accident hoy, I mean we also face such kind of things, Milinda, when people blame, it not only reflect whosoever complain, that person's lack of taking responsibility, but again also reflects that person's no uh, irresponsibility towards the animal. Sale buli he je NGO phone koilu, because Melinda, we know as NGOs, there are lots of cases to deal with in a single day. So sometimes it so happens ki uh, they cannot make up to it, or they cannot reach to that spot, or even if do they reach to that spot, it is a little bit late. So in that case, what happens, the person blames, but then instead of blaming, why doesn't that person ask for assistance from that very NGO that he or she rang up, and ask for assistance that what can he or she do in the present spot on the immediately. No, instead, of course, the NGO people would be coming, but then instead of blaming ki ahibo noarile ba etiale aha nai, why don't you take the responsibility and start doing things on a very basic level? Ask for assistance, what medicines, emergency medicines that can be applied, or what can be done on an emergency front, and do it. Then when the NGO people come, they will of course do the necessary things. But then till the time they arrive, because I mean NGO people are also humans, no, they are also not machines. And it's very easy to say and blame ki etiale nahile, etiale nokorile. But then people also have their other works and priorities. But when it comes to NGO, it is very easy to blame, Melinda. Why? Because I mean it's a thankless job. The volunteering for any cause is a thankless job. So of course no one wants appreciation, but then at least whoever informs, no, moi jitu koru ki whoever informs me, and then when if we are not around, or we are in other case for that matter, we assist them loge loge koi diu ki khini koribo lage and keep us an update. We will reach there as soon as possible. So hebur manuhok, Melinda, I think it is their responsibility to understand that call kori dile mo responsibility to khatam hoi nagol. My first responsibility is also to let them know, and also to uh, do what can be done from my front to help the injured animal for that matter. I think that can be done. Does this answer your question, Melinda? First question.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But
All
what
right.
can be done? Okay, but done হৈ গ'ল তাৰপিছত পইচাখিনি কেনেকে ৰেজ কৰিবা কেনেকে how do we deal with it?
Okay, so the second question, how on a personal front can you raise? um well, that's a little tricky, but then I believe moi jetia okole korisilo no, more experience pora koisilu, koi asu, I used to save my pocket money. More personal it might sound silly, but then I used to do it because I know kali ba poruhi kiba enekwa to kiba eta case jetiai pam no, small wounds ho, cuts ho, kiba eta সৰু ট্ৰিটমেণ্টে কিবা এটা কৰিবলৈ, কাৰণ মই তেতিয়া অকলে যতে যি চাওঁ স্কিন ইনফেকশ্যন হওক, জানো নিয়ম একটো দিব লাগিব, ইমানটো হেৰি হয়, এইটো এণ্টিবায়টিক দিব লাগিব, চেফপেড দিব লাগিব, নিউস্পৰিন পাউডাৰ দিব লাগিব, ডিমেক দিব লাগিব, সৰু সুৰা মেডিচিন যিখিনি, সেইখিনি কৰি থাকোতে মই নিজে দোকানত যেতিয়া যাওঁ, যেতিয়া সুধো কি এইটো হৈছে এইটো জন্তুৰ, what should I do? So they prescribe me medicines and মই তাৰে সিহঁতৰ পৰা কিনো. Sometimes কি হয়, when I didn't have cash, no, my and I used to say them, is it okay ki I'll pay you after a few days, when I was a student, when I was not into a job. On the personal front মই হেটো কৰিছিলো, মই মোৰ পকেট মানি জমাইছিলো, হেনেকে কৰিছিলো. And when it comes to huge amount of money, when you see that this animal actually needs prolonged treatment, then of course you will, I think it's wise to contact an NGO or people who are related to such fields. I think hetu koribo lage. Moi personally, if you ask me what should be done to raise money, I am pretty much not sure how to raise money on a personal front, but then what can be the alternative is saving a little amount of money every day. I mean, one pizza costs you 350, the normal size, okay? If I don't, chalo, I'm craving for the pizza. Okay, I'll not have that pizza. A very basic example. Moi hey pizza to paisa bosai thoi dilo. That 350 will come. Hetu kaam hoi jabo no at treatment. I mean, tinta side treatment or kaam hoi jabo. So many medicines can be bought with it. So on the personal front, moi hekhini korisilu till the time I was not into a job and I was not into this organization. I used to do these things on the personal front when you can't ask for money from anyone and everyone around, and when also on the other hand you don't want to stop what you're doing. So there has to be an alternative. And I mean, Melinda, when you actually are passionate about something, universe gives you a way. Kiba na kiba eta rasta ulaye jai where you're not empty handed. You have something, some amount in your hand, and your work doesn't stop. It goes on. So I believe on the personal front that can be done. I did that. Does this answer your question, Melinda? Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you answer my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Aru kunubai kiba hudibo bisarisa? Aru jodi কোনো questions আছে নেকি আৰু কাবাৰ? নহলে আমি মানে wrap up মানে কৰি দিম আৰু।
যদি একো question নাই, I think মই এটা কথা কব বিচাৰিম, all right? That we actually need, no, মানে যেহেতু we are all in this field, that community adoption, no, এটা এনেকুৱা বস্তু হয় which is really underrated, and many people are also not aware of it. Okay, like the idea of community adoption is that the entire community, no, contributes a bit individually. Sobe olop olopke individually contribute koribo, but then it will benefit the animals at large. Okay, and it can be the community, the people in the society can contribute anything from blankets during the winter, and food, for financial help, for their vaccination and sterilization. It is a community adoption idea that I have, or I always have in mind, and we are currently working on it also. I believe that community adoption is, if done effectively, can help a lot of stray animals, improve the well-being of the entire society. Supposedly my neighborhood or my compound building can donate something as a group or as a few group of individuals. Or ketiaba enaka hoy azikali to youth hai, they are coming up with so much of drives, jeneba no, like youth nowadays, I mean everybody is into Instagram reels, right? So why don't we can also start with something no, which talks of in a very subtle manner, which can go into the minds of the people, where we can help, like plan a donation drive with the help of a small thing in a very small group, like why don't we come up with plans where every month families who are animal lovers can donate something every month. Then collectively we can make the donation very big, no? And what happens is when community comes up together, when people constitutes a community. If one people comes forward, I think many people will join in. So when things like this will come into the being, I believe things will change. So I think community adoption or community taking care of animals, community coming together for taking care of their strays, no, rest aside the NGO, I'm not talking of any NGO, but then community standing up together as a whole, I think will help curb the issues towards animal cruelty and saving the lives of animals in the long run. So I believe.
Okay. Yeah, ma'am. Okay. Do you have some more questions? I think there are no questions, ma'am.
Okay.
Sure. So we will wrap up now. So I would like to give the vote of thanks. I would like to thank Ankita ma'am for giving her valuable time to us. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your experiences and knowledge to us. Many of us got to know about your organization through this session. Thank you, Enajori, for organizing such an interesting session. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the respective participants for making today's session a grand success. So with this, I am closing today's session. So yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for inviting. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. Bye. Bye.